Hi everybody, I just thought that I would show you what I'm getting ready to prep for the week. I'm going to use the Vitamix to make a soup. It has this really great setting on it that you can pick, and it will allow you to put all of your vegetables in it, and then like 8 minutes later it will make soup for you. So these are the different vegetables. I'm going to use this red leafy green lettuce. I'm going to skin these tomatoes. I got some organic mushrooms, a couple of organic carrots, some fresh parsley, organic pepper, a bag of rice cauliflower. They had some butternut squash. I'm not going to use all of that. I'm only going to use maybe a handful of that. And then some organic chives. And then I'll use the bone broth and olive oil as my base. And so I'm just going to throw this in the Vitamix, and it's going to like basically pulse it, but I'm going to leave some of it left over chopped. So I'm going to make a base that would be like almost like a creamy tomato soup, but it will actually be made from all of these different vegetables. And then I'm going to have some of the vegetables chopped on the side that I will have sauteed that I'm going to add to that vegetable a mixture that I make. So it's almost like making a creamy soup or like a full-blown, completely blended soup. But then I'm sauteing the vegetables on the side. I'm going to put those in there, so it's kind of the best of both worlds. So I'm going to do that. That'll probably only take me, well, it's going to take about 9 minutes for it to cook on the Vitamix. And then it will take me a few minutes to maybe 10 minutes to saute. So all in all, I'm going to make a soup in about 15 minutes, which is awesome. I love that Vitamix for that reason. And then I'm going to come over and I'm going to start these first so that they'll be kind of cooking. Whole Foods sells organic broccoli, cauliflower, and green beans. So in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a line of green beans, a line of cauliflower, and a line of broccoli. When it's done being roasted, I'm going to mix the green beans and the broccoli together, and I'm going to eat that throughout the week. But I want to separate that cauliflower and put it over there in the Vitamix. And I'm going to throw a little bit of my sauteed onion, a little bit of my sauteed pepper in there, and then some olive oil and some seasoning, a little bit of parsley, and I'm going to make mashed cauliflower with that roasted cauliflower that I've made. So that's what's going to happen here on the roasted vegetables. I'm going to spread all those over this sheet cake pan, and I'm going to use some avocado oil for this, and then I'm going to actually roast them on a 400-degree heat because I have the avocado oil. So I'll just do salt and pepper and avocado oil. And then I'm going to get my large skillet out, and first I'm going to put the cabbage that I have here. I'm going to actually put that in the Vitamix, and it acts like a food processor, and so it will like string out that cabbage to where you'll have like, you know, long strips of it. And then I'm going to put that in my large skillet with that chopped onion with some olive oil. And I'm just going to put the lid on and just let all that cabbage cook down with that onion. And I'm just going to eat on that cabbage all throughout the week. So I'll have this cooked cabbage, and then I'll have all these roasted vegetables. And then I'm going to go back to my soup base, where I'll have the creamy soup that's been basically all combined together. And then I'll have those chopped vegetables that I sauteed kind of mixed in with that. So that's basically what's going to be happening this week. So I'm going to wake up, and I usually will fast until about noon. And then I'm going to make a smoothie, and I can make a smoothie maybe tomorrow or another day to show you guys how I do that. I'll have coffee and a smoothie with some collagen, and I don't usually have that until around 11:30. And then in the afternoon, I'm going to have probably some of the soup, maybe with a little bit of hemp protein. And then for dinner, I'm going to have some grass-fed beef with all of those roasted vegetables. So that's what's happening tomorrow. One thing I would suggest is if you don't know what you're eating tomorrow, you're going into your day tomorrow very unprepared. So even if you don't have any food prepared, figure out where you are going to eat tomorrow. If that means I'm going through the drive-thru at Bread Company and I'm getting egg whites in a fruit cup, if it means at lunchtime I'm having Jimmy John's deliver a lettuce wrap, and then if it means on my way home I'm going to drive by Freddy's and get a lettuce wrapped hamburger, then that's what you're doing. And then if you're going to run by Walgreens and get raw almonds, or run by Quick Trip and get raw almonds, whatever you need to do, talk yourself through what you are going to eat tomorrow. And again, remember, if you do not have your food prepped, there is a way to still eat clean. So just make the difference. Just make the right choices. So anyways, this is my food for the evening. I hope that's helped you guys, or maybe prompted you to get some, new ideas. If you don't have a Vitamix, then, you can certainly throw all of this in a pot and then use an immersion blender to kind of turn it into the type of soup that I'm turning it into. It is a nice tool because to me, it's the best of both worlds. It almost acts like a food processor in addition to being a blender, but then it literally cooks the soup and makes a soup. So it's pretty phenomenal. But these are the things that I'll be combining. So I'll show you some finished products when I'm done. You all have a nice evening. God bless you. Hi guys, I'm back. I don't usually stay up this late, but I'm taking the day off tomorrow to do something for Sophie. So I figured I could stay up a little bit later and show you guys the finished product from my earlier video. So if you didn't see my earlier video, I had everything laid out that I was going to cook. And it started with the soup. So I used the Vitamix and I put a whole heap of vegetables in the soup. And I used like dark leafy greens. I used red lettuce. I used organic mushrooms, an orange pepper, onion, butternut squash, very little butternut squash. That color is coming from other things. Carrots. All of the vegetables are all set out in my earlier video, but the Vitamix actually makes this soup. You just pile all those vegetables in there, and then you push the soup button, and then it took 6 minutes to make that as a soup. And it's really tasty because it has onion in there, and it has the orange pepper. I'd put some olive oil and beef broth, and then I also put some a couple dashes of hot sauce and then salt and pepper in it. It really has a nice flavor to it. And so the leftover vegetables, which were the vegetables that I actually made the soup with, the tomato, all the leafy greens, the butternut squash strings, the orange pepper, mushrooms, onion, that's all in there. So what I'm going to do, in rice cauliflower is in there, I'm going to take these sauteed vegetables and I'm going to put them on top of the soup. And so I'm going to have that as a meal. I roasted, if you saw my earlier video, I roasted broccoli, cauliflower, and green beans. So I'll talk about the broccoli. I roasted this on 375 with avocado oil. I kind of like it when it gets a little caramelized like that. That's actually something that I really enjoy. So I just feel like it tastes better that way. So you don't necessarily have to make it that done, but that's the way that I actually enjoy it. So I ended up roasting that for 30 minutes. And then green beans, same way. Now these were fresh green beans, and I just dumped them out of the bag, which if you saw my earlier video, it showed you I got them at Whole Foods, and salt and pepper and avocado oil, and just cooked them that way. Now my absolute favorite thing, and I could just literally sit here and eat this entire bowl in one sitting. It's just absolutely delicious. I roasted the cauliflower, and when I roasted it, it looked just like the broccoli. It was all in whole pieces. I bought bags of cauliflower, just fresh cauliflower from Whole Foods, organic cauliflower, and I just roasted it in avocado oil on 375 for 30 minutes. Took it out, let it cool down a little bit, which in the Vitamix you don't have to. You can put it in right from the oven if you want to. I put more in the Vitamix when I put that cauliflower in there. I put more olive oil in with it. I put a couple dashes of hot sauce in with it. I put some of the sauteed onions that were in the soup in with it. A little bit of salt and pepper. At this point, you could add anything you wanted. I put a couple dashes of coconut milk to cream it up a little bit, and that Vitamix just turned it into mashed potatoes. I'm telling you, it is so delicious. This is one of my favorite things. What I like to do is make a roast in my crock pot, and then I like to plate the plate with the mashed cauliflower and then put the roast on top of that. It's just absolutely delicious. And then the last thing I did was made some cooked cabbage. So I'll come over to this cooked cabbage. I got this off of, I just usually leave the Food Network on at all times. And some of you might say, oh gosh, I don't want to eat cabbage. But this stuff is delicious. I used the Vitamix like a food processor. It's actually more powerful than a food processor. And I just, chop up the cabbage a little bit and then put it in there. And then the food processor actually did this. Now there's a whole head of normal cabbage in there with it. So there's a head of red cabbage and a head of normal cabbage. Both are organic. And then there's a whole big yellow onion in there with it too. So all of that is combined. And none of it was sauteed. None of it was sauteed before I put it in the Vitamix. It was all raw. And then I turned it into that. And then I threw it in my big, large skillet. And I put a couple things in here. So I put some olive oil in there. I put apple cider vinegar, a couple good dashes of stevia, and a couple good dashes of hot sauce. And then I use my Dijon mustard that I get from Whole Foods, and I put a couple dashes of that in there. And then I just let it steam, and it probably steamed on my stove for about 30 minutes, but I stir it about every 5 minutes. So that's my cabbage. So I have lots of options. I can eat the soup. I can have the roasted vegetables, the cabbage. I can have my mashed cauliflower. I can have my roasted green beans, or I'm going to use these extra sauteed vegetables, and I'm going to put them as the topper of my soup. The Vitamix was the Vitamix made that soup in 6 minutes, so that you just really can't beat having a Vitamix. Although they might be expensive, it has a 10-year warranty, and you just can't believe how much faster it makes things go. So if you're interested in kind of seeing more specifically what the exact ingredients were, just go ahead and scroll down on my Facebook page and look for the prior video. It was only like a 2-minute long video, and it had all the ingredients listed out. So I hope this helps someone to get a little bit more creative. You all have a nice evening. God bless you.